A very good morning, viewers. You're watching Quick Morning. I'm Deepak Suresh Kumar. This is your one-stop destination for all the top stories, from tracking PM Modi's Mann Ki Baat to also giving you an update on Pope Francis's health. Here are the top stories that we got for you in this morning. PM Modi's 119th episode of Mann Ki Baat is scheduled for today, where he will connect with the countrymen and share his views on various aspects of the society. Through this program, the Prime Minister encourages public to inspire, bring positive change in the society and also contribute to the nation-building process as well. This program is held on every last Sunday of every month. Rescue operations were intensified after 8 people were trapped inside the tunnel of the Srisailam Left Bank Canal project in Telangana's Nagar Kurnool district. As the operation continues in full swing, officials deployed drones to guide the teams entering the tunnel. The teams are racing against time to take the trapped people out.
There were about 60 people working on the drilling machine. Except 8 people, remaining all have come out safely without any grievous injuries. The first and foremost priority of the government of Revanth Reddy is to save the lives of those 8 people who are locked up in the tunnel.
Viewers, amid heightened anti-terror operations, elite NSG commandos were deployed in Jammu for joint exercises with the Special Operations Group, or the SOG. The commandos are undergoing intensive training to familiarize themselves with the terrain in Jammu, and they are preparing for swift counter-terror responses in urban areas. As part of the drill, room intervention as well as area clearance exercises were also conducted in the heart of Jammu city to neutralize potential threats. With the terror threat looming large, security forces are leaving no stones unturned to avert any possible attack in the region. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar addressed US President Donald Trump's recent concerns over $21 million USAID funding for voter turnout initiatives in India. Jaishankar informed that the Indian government was investigating the matter, emphasizing that if any inappropriate activities gets identified, the public should know about the identities of those involved. The controversy arose when Trump criticized the funding, voicing concerns over the funds being allocated to India for voter turnout.
I think some information has been put out there by the Trump administration people, and obviously that is concerning. It would suggest that there are activities which has a certain objective out here to push a narrative or a viewpoint. I think as a government we are looking into it, because such organizations have an obligation to report.
Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar raised concerns over the growing influence of illegal immigrants on India's electoral process, emphasizing the need for national awareness and also action. He highlighted that a significant number of individuals without the legal right to reside in the country were making demands on the nation's resources, including education, healthcare, as well as housing. He further stated that these illegal immigrants had begun to interfere in the country's electoral system, which he described as a very serious issue. In an apparent reference to the recent deportation of illegal immigrants by the US, he called for introspection on when similar actions would be taken within India. The Vice President also urged citizens, particularly the youth, to be vigilant and also pushed public representatives and the government to act responsibly in addressing these challenges.
Our organic demographic growth is acceptable. But if this is disruptive with the sinister design to control, हमारे कान खड़े हो जाने चाहिए. हमारे लिए चिंतन मंथन का विषय है. हमारा दर्शन जो सदियों पुराना है उसको चुनौती है.
As the probe into the KIIT row continues, the Odisha government said that all those responsible for the death of a Nepali student on the institute would not be spared. Congress activists also held a demonstration demanding the immediate arrest of the KIIT founder Achyuta Samantha. The suicide sparked protests outside the main gate of the Kalinga Institute and protesters burnt the effigy of the founder. The BJP government held a meeting with the farmers in Chandigarh on Saturday following the earlier meeting held in the city on the 14th of February 2025. The meeting was held under the chairmanship of Union Minister for Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Shivraj Singh Chauhan, who was joined by Union Minister for Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution Prahlad Joshi and many others. They addressed farmers' issues. The minister also assured that the government is committed to the welfare of the farmers and had been making regular necessary policy interventions to address difficulties being faced by the farmers. The next meeting is scheduled on 19th March.
बहुत सद्भावपूर्ण वातावरण में चर्चा हुई है। किसान कल्याण के सारे कामों को जो मोदी सरकार की प्राथमिकता है, हमने उनको भी रखा है और डल्लेवाल जी, पंधेर जी किसान नेताओं की बात को ध्यान से सुना है। बहुत अच्छी चर्चा हुई है। ये चर्चा जारी रहेगी।
Viewers, those were the top stories from across the country. Now, let's get you a quick roundup of the business stories that we are tracking for you in this edition of Quick Morning. The private credit market in India witnessed significant expansion in 2024 with total investments reaching $9.2 billion across 163 deals. This marks a 7% growth compared to 2023. However, the sector fell short of the projected $10 billion mark as several large transactions were delayed in Q1 of 2025. One of the biggest trends of 2024 was the rise of domestic private credit players who accounted for 63% of the total deal value and 61% of the transactions. This shift indicates growing confidence in Indian credit funds as local players continue to strengthen their presence in the market. Real estate emerged as the dominant sector, attracting 43% of total private credit investments. This was followed by consumer durables and also financial services. Siemens is set to expand its factory capacity in India under the Make in India initiative to cater to both domestic as well as international markets. The company has invested over 9,000 crore rupees in India since 2015, with an additional 1,100 crore rupees announced in November 2023. With 34,000 employees and 32 factories, Siemens acknowledges India's economic ambitions and innovation potential. The company also sees vast opportunities across sectors, particularly with the government's focus on digitalization, energy efficiency, and also grid modernization. India's financial markets are presenting an intriguing scenario that has caught the attention of all market veterans. Vijay Mantri, the co-founder at JRL Money, in a LinkedIn post narrated why India's market capital is down by 23%. He also shared insights crucial for investors and market observers trying to make sense of current market conditions. Mantri talked about how the first key to understanding this disconnect lies in currency fluctuations. The currency dynamic means that when measuring market capitalization in dollars, the depreciation of the Indian rupee amplifies the apparent decline, creating a more dramatic drop than what domestic investors might experience. In a comprehensive analysis of India's startup ecosystem, RPG Enterprises Chairman Harsh Goenka highlighted the mixed performance of 23 startup IPOs over the past 3 years. He revealed on Platform X, showcasing data with a stark reality check for India's bustling startup landscape where market enthusiasm was met with varying degrees of success. Goenka talked about the standout performers. Zaggle leads the pack with an impressive 117% return above its listing price, followed by food tech giant Zomato at 102%. Ease My Trip has also shown strong performance with an 86% increase, demonstrating that some tech-enabled businesses have successfully translated their pre-IPO promise into public market success. Viewers, now moving on to the international segment, we're tracking the ground pulse of what's happening between Israel and Hamas and what's happening between Russia and Ukraine. So here's a roundup of the top international stories we're tracking for you in this edition of Quick Morning. President Donald Trump has said that the United States is inching close to reaching a deal with Ukraine over letting the U.S. access country's rare earth minerals in exchange for continued American military aid. The deal, according to Trump, is a transactional exchange between the two countries, which was earlier one-sided during the Biden administration. This comes after Ukrainian President held a meeting with U.S. Special Representative for Ukraine and Russia, Keith Kellogg, in Kyiv on the same as the two nations move closer to finalizing the agreement.
We've put in 3 times more money. We're in for 300 billion. They're in for 100 billion. And you know, Europe is also doing it in the form of a loan. Biden just gave them money. There was no loan, there was no security, there was no anything. So we're going to either sign a deal or there's going to be a lot of problems with them. So we're going to sign a deal to get security because we have to do that. We're spending our treasure.
Relatives of hostages and supporters gathered for their weekly rally in Tel Aviv demanding the immediate release of all the remaining hostages held in Gaza. 6 Israeli men held hostage in Gaza Strip were freed earlier, bringing the number of Israeli captives released to 25. Now, they were the last of the living hostages slated for release in the current phase of the deal. It remains unclear if the sides will continue into a second stage of the ceasefire meant to end the war and bring home all remaining hostages. Among the 6 hostages released, 2 of them were held captive from a decade ago.
Who made today's release possible? President Trump, after such a difficult week, and in Odette's memory, we beg you, do everything for deal to release all the hostages and end this war.
A knife attack in the eastern French city of Mulhouse on Saturday left 1 person dead and 3 others seriously injured. While condemning it, French President Emmanuel Macron described the incident as an act of Islamist terrorism. He expressed his condolences to the victim's family and offered the nation's solidarity in a statement following the attack. The incident underscores the ongoing threat of terrorism and the need for vigilance and robust security measures to protect citizens. 6 people died and 78 were injured after a roof collapsed in the food court of a shopping mall in northwestern Peru. Out of the injured, 30 people have already been discharged and the 48 others remain hospitalized under medical care. As probe continues into the incident, authorities are investigating any possible criminal aspect in this case. The Vatican informed that Pope Francis was in a very critical condition on Saturday after he suffered a long asthmatic respiratory crisis requiring high flows of oxygen. The 88-year-old Francis, who has been hospitalized for a week with a complex lung infection, also received blood transfusions after tests showed a condition associated with anemia. Looking at the Pope's condition, doctors will now be keeping him hospitalized for at least another week. US President Donald Trump said the latest 6 Israeli hostages released by Hamas are not in great shape after the terror group freed the final group slated for release under the first phase of the ceasefire agreement with Israel. With this phase now coming to an end of the deal, questions over the next phase clouded the deal's future. The ceasefire deal has paused the deadliest and most devastating fighting ever between Israel and Hamas, but there are fears that the war will resume after the final phase ends.
So we had a lot of news over the last 24 hours. We had the hostages given back today. It's disgraceful what's going on there. They're not in great shape, but we've also seen them in worse shape. But the hostages, the 6 hostages, were delivered by Hamas. What a terrible situation it is. I'm going now to make a speech at CPAC, so I think we're going to include a lot of your subjects, and I know it's going to be covered by all of you. And so I'll see you at CPAC.
Police in Bulgaria's capital clashed with nationalist protesters who demanded the government scrap plans take the country into the Eurozone. The clash occurred as some 1,000 protesters gathered in front of the office of the European Commission and began throwing red paint and firecrackers at the building, eventually setting fire to the door of the offices, waving national and also party flags and chanting no to the euro and yes to the Bulgarian lev. The protesters demanded the government to resign. Bulgaria, which joined the European Union in 2007, has been plagued by political instability in recent years. Thousands waving blue and yellow Ukrainian flags marched to the Russian embassy in London, demanding Ukraine be given more support and a place at the table in talks to end the 3-year war. Organizers called for the withdrawal of Russian troops and increased military aid to strengthen Kyiv's hand. This comes as the momentum over peace talks have been growing to discuss a way out of this conflict. Welcome back, viewers. Now, as promised, let's quickly get you up to speed with the top and the latest news coming in from the world of sports and entertainment. Pakistan Cricket Board has blamed the ICC for the fiasco and demanded an explanation from the world body. At the start of the game, when the two teams lined up for their national anthems, the spectators were left surprised as the Indian national anthem played for a second before being stopped. A source close to the ICC confirmed that the PCB had sent a letter to the governing body outlining the incident and also demanding an explanation. Former India cricketer Sanjay Mangarekar has felt that it's very unlikely that Rohit Sharma would be around till the 2027 Cricket World Cup, saying that the ongoing Champions Trophy in Pakistan and Dubai could be the last ICC tournament for the stylish opening batter. Rohit struggled for runs during the 3-test series against New Zealand and the Border Gavaskar Trophy in Australia. He returned to form in style by smashing a century in the second ODI against England at Cuttack earlier this month, giving India hope as they prepared for the Champions Trophy. East Bengal maintained their newfound form with a 3-1 thumping of Punjab FC in their Indian Super League match. Dimitrios Diamantakos set the tone for the visitors with an early strike before Naurem Mahesh Singh and Lalchand Gunga found the back of the net. Later, Punjab FC scored the consolation goal in the 62nd minute. Pakistan head coach Aqib Javed expressed his faith in the pace trio of Shaheen Shah Afridi, Naseem Shah and Haris Rauf, saying that it will produce something very special in the must-win Champions Trophy clash against India. Pakistan will be under pressure against India given their recent bilateral record. PCB chairman Mohsin Naqvi said that his team was fully prepared to face arch-rivals India in the marquee clash of the Champions Trophy. Naqvi visited the Pakistan team training area and met the players. Senior batter Babar Azam did not turn up for the practice session. India continued their domination over Ireland, defeating the visitors 4-0 in their return leg men's FIH Pro League match. It was India's second consecutive win over Ireland in the Pro League, having defeated the same opponents 3-1 in the first leg. Ben Duckett made 165 runs in 143 deliveries in England's opening game against Australia in the Champions Trophy 2025. He also created history by registering the highest individual total in Champions Trophy ever. Former New Zealand international Nathan Astle held the record, scoring 145 runs against the US in 2004, with Duckett now breaking this record with his knock of 165 runs at the Gaddafi Stadium in Lahore. Ahead of England versus Australia clash, former Australia cricketer Shane Watson came forward and made his pick of the player who could make an impact. Watson went on to pick star all-rounder Glenn Maxwell as the player who could perform brilliantly for the Aussies in the Champions Trophy. He backed Maxwell considering his recent form in the BBI. With that, viewers, it's a wrap on this edition of Quick Morning. But stay tuned to Republic TV for all the breaking news and latest updates on the other side.